Now, 2 people are reported injured in what has been described as a dynamite blast in Santa Maria here in Accra. It is not clear what triggered the blast, but residents are living in fear. JoyNews has been speaking to the Assemblyman Nana Kofi Bwanjoa Jr., who says he has alerted the security agencies and NADMO to look into the matter. The injured are said to be responding to treatment at a local polyclinic.
The issue happened at a suburb of Santa Maria called Anchor of Hope. It's a polling station where we used to vote. Around 3 o'clock p.m., I had a call from one of the residents in Anchor of Hope polling station complaining that there's an explosion in the area, something like a dynamite blast. So I had to rush to the scene. I reported to NADMO and all the stakeholders involved. So we went to the scene and unfortunately, we can't even locate where the issue came from. But they just heard a blast boom like that from the ground. And honestly, the lady who got involved, her name is Gladys Fiave. She's had, the toe, all the toenails are vanished with blood squeezing out and all this kind of stuff. And this also a pregnant woman who was trying to come to the scene to come and rescue her sister, but unconsciously she fell. And so that is what happened. So currently the police and the NIB and other security agencies are taking in charge of it and doing investigations. But I would like to use your medium to also appeal to the necessary quarters and the stakeholders involved to come and then come to our aid and solve this issue once and for all for us, because honestly we don't know when it's going to happen again.
Well, a group of women members of parliament led by MP for K2 South, Jifa Gomashi, are advocating an ease in access and affordable sanitary wares for menstruating adolescent girls and women here in Ghana. Now, how has that push fared and what does the future look like for their advocacy? Madam Jifa Gomashi joins us live with more. Good morning, Ma, and thanks very much for your time. Tell us a bit more about this initiative by yourself and your colleagues and the end game.
Good morning, and thank you very much for the opportunity. So before I became a parliamentarian in 2020, I volunteered as a board member for Days for Girls, and also as a friend to the Ghana Girl Guide Association. And these agencies or these NGOs have been pushing for the taxes to be removed. So as an MP, I followed up with my colleague Betty Crosby, who is MP from African Place. And she indicated that the year before our coming into Parliament, they made a lot of noise about the removal of the taxes. I also saw, and I think that you played that this morning, His Excellency the Vice President promising us that the taxes were going to be removed. So last year, when we read a statement on the floor of Parliament, Honorable Zuera of Salaga represented us and made the statement. We all contributed, and we were hoping that the institution that is to champion the affairs of women, which is the Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection, will take this on and assist us to reach government and to get the results that we wanted. But unfortunately, I'm sure you know what has been happening in that ministry. So the work has stalled a little bit. But here we are again, 1 year down the line. Those of us who had an interest in it, we've organized events in our various constituencies, partnered with some NGOs again, to still press home the need for government to remove the taxes. I think that there's almost an institutionalized patriarchy going on. Look, when condom matters come, men are excited when they get them for free. But that's a decision to go and use a condom for many reasons. But menstruation is not a luxury. It's not a choice. It is biology. So it will come anyway. Once you're female, once you're a woman, and everything is okay with you, you will have the situation. And if you have to spend so much money just to collect blood, which you didn't choose to have, I think it's a bit much, and that's why we are advocating that government sees the need to remove the taxes. 32%, 20% on one side as luxury. I mean, that just it irritates me to say that it's a luxury tax, really. So the campaign is on. We are happy that Joy FM is also pushing as much as.
So since you started and asking government for reasons why they have not been able to fulfill that promise, what has the response been?
As I indicated, you know, one of the channels that we have as members of parliament is the floor of the House. So we've issued a statement. We want to have answers. We don't have them yet. We're filing questions. We plan to file questions for the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection to come and answer. But as you know, there's a supervisory minister because the substantive is not available. So it's for now, let me just say that it's all very hazy. We don't have any answers, but the advocacy is on different levels. Civil society organizations, NGOs, and members of parliament. We are all attempting to assess governments on different levels, and hopefully we'll hear something and I'll have more positive feedback to give you. But right now, nothing so far has been heard.
So in the interim, when we understand from the video we all watched that women are using baby diapers, they are using toilet rolls, what can they do? What advice do you have for them? What would you tell government? Because this is quite serious to hear them recount these stories.
It's almost embarrassing for us in 2022 as a country to be discussing this matter, you know, on prime time. But it is what it is. That's where we are. There are a few NGOs that I'm working with. I mentioned one, Days for Girls, who through ingenuity and also through best practices from other African countries are manufacturing the washable sanitary towel. It's made by cloth under very hygienic conditions. We're hoping that government will make that possible in every district. Look, it's not so, that is not so expensive. And because it's not disposable and it's reusable, we're teaching the girls to embrace that, wash it very well, dry it in the sun, and use it again and again. But tissue doesn't do the work. I've menstruated before, now I don't. I mean, biology has caught up with me. But tissue doesn't do the work. And this new revelation that I had on Joy FM of using diapers, I didn't have the luxury, shall I say, of using that. But indeed, we are promoting the reusable part because the disposable ones are so expensive. 10 Ghana cedis. And if you know, people menstruate in 3 days, some 5, some a week, and it's every month. And if you spend that kind of money, which you can't even use for food, to go and collect blood, you know, if you look at it, I mean, it's really unfair, and the state must truly, genuinely intervene. I want to take the Vice President on his word. He must please let this come true, and we will sing his praises.
Okay, but I guess the rewashable sanitary pad will be like the one we used to use in the past, the one our mothers used to use. We called it, I think I'm on saying the local language. Is that it? Can we go back to it?
Version. No. It's an improved version.
Okay.
This one is folded like a pad.
Okay.
And so it's not the monsoon. The monsoon is just a strip really that you put between your thighs and through your beads. And so if you're not wearing beads, then what is going to hold it? But this one is fashioned in a way that allows you to line it in the panty, where the disposable part should be. So it serves a different purpose. I mean, it's different. It serves the same purpose, but it's different.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Jifa Gomashi. She is the member of parliament for K2 South. Now, armed robbers are reported to have mounted a blockade next to a police barrier at Winnerso number 1 in the Echuma Kwaoma district of the Ashanti, using it to rob passengers on commercial vehicles using that stretch. Eyewitnesses say at least passengers in 4 Sprinter buses were robbed of their valuables. Residents of the town recall at least 4 of such incidents have been recorded this year. Nanaya Ojima visited the scene and has filed this report.
With the aid of a defective saloon car and some logs, the armed men blocked the Nyoneso to Fuansu Road to aid the robbery expedition. Some eyewitnesses say the defective Fiat saloon car was spotted being pulled by a Kia truck hours before the incident.
Quite say car Kobakra Enshim. It's media me who said you must see car, as some can say, now can you actually say to trade ye? Are there Omode Koboberiana? And it's pa Yakoda sorry ya. Kaya na Jonanaki and Echenono. I don't know Omode Ebebo Chrono or Equemuhano.
4 buses, all carrying passengers, fell behind the blockade. At gunpoint, victims were robbed of their cash and mobile phones. Driver of one of the buses, Kweku Bedu, narrates the incident.
Yehuni say, the 12 and robbers. Badies, Omunani, who be any. And to a 212 Akumiano. Yes, we could be a day. Any home. Yes, I'll go home on the other day. No way the way obey. Will you Pia was set to? That's what Omudu Mare a Google from home. Jerusa accounts are come for and I'm watching Omuraboye.
Residents count not less than 4 robberies this year alone. Somewhere last year, after a robbery incident which resulted in the death of 1 person, the community decided to put up this shelter you see behind me upon the request of police. Though the community say the police have sometimes used this point to protect the people, it has also been one of the areas that these armed robbers are fond of using to perpetrate their robberies. About 10 meters from the shelter is the area used for the robbery. Some residents are dissatisfied with the work of the police.
Maybe a police for one general and Robinson about maintenance was say, it's IGP, or man and Nimla, police for now, more airplanes, so that's what bit my son, Mamma, and I want to see some of mine.
Loud news checks have revealed inadequate personnel has forced the police on some occasions to station 1 personnel at the barrier. It is unclear whether there was a police personnel on guard at the time of the robbery. Further checks reveal only 1 vehicle patrols the area and has consistently developed faults. Tuesdays are market days for people here at Nyoneso number 1. Many from Kumasi and other communities come in here to trade. But due to the armed robbery incident which happened this dawn, many, because of fear, have refused to show up for trade, and this is affecting sales here.
We started by how the dwelling ye said, and then you buy and quetch man, so no crama quetch, match mammy coy and crayfew musa or montoshi.
The roads here are poor, bumpy, and dusty. Though awarded on contract, it is yet to realize any major improvement. Samson Chermantin is a resident.
No question, he said, a dear quine, dear Yama, at me every payer.
Police say they are yet to receive an official complaint, though a personnel was at the scene earlier. For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
The Ghana Metrological Agency GMET is demanding the payment of 80 million cedi in debt owed by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and the Ghana Airport Company Limited. According to the Director General of the Ghana Metrological Agency, Eric Esuman, the amended act of the Metrological Agency enjoins the 2 organizations to pay his agency a percentage of every fee they charge in the operations. However, they have refused to make the payment since 2019. They cumulatively owe the agency about 80 million Ghana cedis. This, Eric Esuman says, is affecting the operations. He wants the ministries responsible for the entities to compel them to honor the payment.
There was a lot, to the tune of over 80 million Ghana cedis.
Oof, 18 million?
80
million Ghana cedis?
Yes, since the act was passed.
2019.
2019.
So 2022.
2020.
June.
Yes. In fact, as at June 2021, I had a data. And as at that time, they owe us about 60 million per the data that I had. We are supposed to do a reconciliation with them. And written to them, they've not been cooperating that much. In fact, when we cry and cry and cry, they will throw something at us. Take this. But that's not what we are looking for. It's a law that must be complied with. What does the law say? So if you even give me a certain amount, what percentage of that to the, how much you have collected? What is that? And so we've had some series of meetings with the airport company and civil aviation. And with the airport company, we started a reconciliation with them. We've not gotten far. We met only once. They were supposed to get us the data as challenging the one that we think we have. Because the argument is that, well, billing is different from, it's different from what they have received. So they can expect this much, but actuals may be different from the projected. And so I said, fine, whatever it is, you have the data, let's sit down and let's do the reconciliation so that we know exactly how much you owe us. And then how are you going to, when are you going to pay the money? Start paying. And they have so many excuses that they give. But I think Ghanaians were aware of your challenges. And in spite of that, they give us the law. We also have our challenges. So you can't use your challenges to deny us what Ghanaians has given to us.
So why is it difficult for them to do that? What have they been telling you?
The airport company will tell you that they took loan to build Terminal 3 and developing airports, and this loan has been guaranteed by the government, and they are using those receipts to service the loan. And so they give it to us to affect them servicing the loan. That's airport company argument. But seriously speaking, civil aviation, I don't get the argument. The argument is that they are challenged, they don't have enough money, and there are difficulty. We all have difficulties. We all have difficulties. We are seriously constrained with this equipment I spoke about. Very expensive, and we need more.
Ghana Metrological Agency there, but we've tried to speak to the other agencies involved. We've not been successful. But in the meantime, why is the Ghana Metrological Agency still relevant in this day and age where there are apps that can predict the weather for you? We've been joined on the line by Professor Ben Lamptey, who is a professor of meteorology and joins us on Zoom to help us with some answers. Prof, why does Ghana still need the Ghana Meteorological Agency in these times when I can get everything about the weather on my phone? Prof, I think you would have to unmute your microphone so we can hear what you're telling us. I want to find out from you in this time when everything about the weather can be predicted on my mobile phone. Why do we still need the services of the Meteo Agency?
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity, and good morning to your very good listeners. We still need the Meteorological Service Department to continue giving us the forecast which we receive on our apps in the first place. That's number one. Number two, the Meteorological Services Department is responsible or is mandated to actually make the observations which are used for different purposes. That's number two. Number three, you heard the Director General talking about aviation. Meteorological Services Department has a very significant role in the aviation industry. There is something called the route forecast. Before the plane takes off from Accra to any destination, they go to the forecast office. The pilots are briefed and they are given information as well, which they will use throughout their journey. Number four, the observations that are recorded by the meteorological agencies are used to calibrate automatic weather stations, for example. They are used to develop models. They are used to verify the models, and more importantly, local meteorological information can be obtained from the meteorological offices. So these are just a few uses why we still need the Meteorological Services Department. For example, if you are going to put up a building, it is advisable to contact the Meteorological Services Department about the weather and climate of your local area. And that will help you in how you orient your building. For example, Smith Flats, for example, have been undertaking projects. And sometimes you close, when it's raining, you will close the louver, but the rain will still enter. And it's because of the climatological conditions, the prevailing climatological condition of the wind in that area. Thank you very much.
All right. But since you know much about the agency, were these debts that the Civil Aviation and the Ghana Airport owe them, how is that affecting their operations in just 30 seconds?
I think that if they should pay these debts, the Ghana Meteorological Agency will improve tremendously beyond what we are seeing now. They will be able to sustain their activities more than what they are doing now.
In what ways? If you say they will be able to improve, what ways?
For example, there are a lot of logistics that the Ghana Meteorological Services need. And because of financial constraints, they are not able to lay hands on those logistics. Getting these monies will help them to get the basic, I'm not even talking of advanced technology, the basic things they need in provision of their services.
All right, thank you very much, sir. That's Professor Ben Lamte. I'm grateful that you find time to join us. Now, to other stories. General Secretary of the NPP, John Bordeaux, says the party risks losing the 2024 elections if experienced executives are not maintained. Now, he cited the 2008 elections where the party had new national executives, a situation he believes contributed to the defeat of the party. Mr. Bordeaux, who has begun his campaign tour, is confident breaking the 8 is assured if experienced national executives are maintained. He said this whilst on his campaign tour of the Upper West region.
Bring it home, that is the obvious choice. And I expect that we all behind. Simplify, vote for it, and they did it. So you are in safe hands.
Let's apologize for the poor quality of the sound there. We'll bring you that very particular video later on. But to some other stories. Some experts in the education sector are calling on government for the expansion of digital infrastructure to help enhance access to education. According to them, bridging the infrastructural deficit would help improve digital and distance learning. Mausi Numo has more in the following report.
With the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the world is facing a severe learning crisis, depriving hundreds of millions of children, young people and adults of access to education, leaving many of the education-related targets of the Sustainable Development Goals well off track. In Ghana, the COVID-19 pandemic severely impacted children's access to quality education, exacerbated the existing inequalities and worsened existing barriers. In that regard, a lecturer at the College of Engineering of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Mark Adom Asamoah, is calling on government and other stakeholders to make provisions for expanding digital and distance learning initiatives. He made the call whilst speaking at the Maiden National Digital and Distance Learning Conference 2022.
It is important that we are able to get our various online equipment. With the online equipment, we must have the various ICT-based equipment that we need. We must also ensure that we have the needed bandwidth for the internet. and also ensure that the digital technology is available for students. Students need the tablets. Even the lecturers who are teaching also will need the tablets. They need the various audiovisuals to be able to go through the digital system.
Chief of Education at UNICEF, Tara O'Connell, explains that conferences such as these will improve the digital aspect of Ghana's education system.
What we will see is an enhanced usage of technology in the classroom. Hopefully, we will see a longer-term plan for connectivity of all schools in Ghana to the internet, and the use of technology-based and digital solutions in all classrooms in Ghana. And that can be used in an adaptive way, specifically to support bridging where there is an equity equation. So for those learners who typically are left behind or who are more disadvantaged, technology can be used to actually bring them further into the learning experience. And
Executive Director at the Center for National Distance Learning and Open Schooling, Nana Jemfi Ejabo, however, gave the assurance of extending the digital and distance learning program to rural areas.
We are not leaving any child out. We are making sure that Article 25 of our Constitution is activated, which talks about educational right for everyone. So it does not talk about education for only people in the urban centers. So we are looking how we can come together and develop tech solutions for everyone. We have three kinds of solutions. We have the offline, we have the online, and the mobile app. The offline focuses on places with low or no connectivities. So places in the rural areas, that is what we will send over there. And send-loss, we have a device called the iBox that we will deploy to such places. So every child, irrespective of location, should have access to quality education.
The Center for National Distance Learning and Open Schooling is hoping to expand quality education across the country by blending the traditional and digital methods of teaching and learning. Mausi Numon's report for JoyNews.
Yes, so watching the JoyNews desk here on JoyNews. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you the latest in business.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, is undertaking research to support women entrepreneurs in the digital financial ecosystem. The move, which is backed by the Bank of Ghana, will make policy intervention to government in providing sustainable means by which women can improve the use of digital channels without any challenge. Speaking to Joy Business after the launch, Director of ISE, Professor Peter Korte, said women-led businesses have become an integral part of the country's economy, hence a move to improve their access to digital channels.
The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, has launched the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation-sponsored Retail Finance Research Initiative, which is a 4-year multi-million-dollar research aimed at deepening digital financial inclusion and improving women's access to financial services. Speaking after the launch of the initiative, Director of the Institute, Professor Peter Korte, hinted that the initiative will boost women-led businesses to take part in the digital economy.
Access to finance and even work within the subsector has been sparse, very limited. So this funding is to ensure that we promote access to retail distribution networks. In other words, the supply side, if they are Momo agents or cash in, cash out agents, what can we do to limit or expand their scope, remove the bottlenecks they face? And that is the essence of this project. We want to use public policy to influence that. We also want to use commercial solutions. So if, for instance, you want to give a solution that will use software or even provide some of them with phones to be able to access finance, you want to get some of them, female entrepreneurs, get their businesses online. These are all means by which we can promote access to digital finance.
Speaking on behalf of the governor for the central bank, head of research at the bank, Philip Abredu Otu, commended the team for the project and declared the support of the bank towards such initiative.
Today's launch is in another further step to deepen financial inclusion in Ghana, and also to ensure that the poor comes in that net, to ensure that we all have a safe and sound economy that everybody can participate in it. Now, I must say that as far as the central bank is concerned, we are already involved in all of this.
Small-scale credit operators such as mobile money agents can enjoy from the multi-million-dollar Refined Research Initiative.
Now, the Ghana Insurance Association has lauded the National Insurance Commission's move to fine insurance companies culpable of premium undercutting. The Commission recently settled on a fine of 60,000 cedis payable by insurers. Seth Aklasi is president of the association.
The penalties in the new act is it's significantly punitive. However, what the industry association, which is the GIA, is doing is that we're trying some sort of like self-regulation, because ultimately, if you said you undercut by 20 cedis and you are paying 60,000 for 20 cedis undercutting, that is a lot of money. On one hand, it serves a particular purpose. On the other hand, it goes to reduce the cash flow or maybe increase the outlay of insurance companies. So we have come together to provide processes that we will have to follow to stem that in the bud. In recent times, it's been communicated to all the CEOs. We have dedicated lines that anybody who's found undercutting would have to report to, and then the measures that we have to take will kick in. Ultimately, the penalties are what you pay. But 60,000 for an infraction of 20 or 50 cedis, I think it's a good enough thing for everybody to be on his toes.
Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Insurance at the National Insurance Commission, Dr. Justice Ofori, says insurers must consider business reasons for paying claims rather than technicalities. Head of Reinsurance and Anti-Money Laundering at the NIC, Esther Amma, spoke on behalf of the Commissioner.
As insurers, our business is to cover risk, and almost every risk is insurable at the right price. Over time, we have developed products to meet the needs of different categories of customers. But have we really covered all our customers? Is it possible for a customer, for instance, to obtain cover for a customized risk without having to pay premium that is comparatively off limits? How amenable are we to a client's needs? Also, available records show that we take the issue of claims payments seriously, even though a portion of the insuring public may be uncharitable towards us regarding this topic. I heard the other day that some people buy insurance out of compulsion. In fact, a lot of motorists buy insurance because of the police. This ought not to be the case. As insurers, how do we intend to change this impression so the average Ghanaian perceives insurance as a service that must be acquired willingly and happily? Are we willing to heed Mr. Ali's advice, Mr. Shaibu Ali, President of IBAG, of looking more of the business reasons for paying claims rather than the technicalities?
And that's all in business for now. Sports is coming up next.
Apologies for our inability to bring you sports today. We'll bring you sports in JoyNews today at 12. But that'll be all for our bulletin today. There's more news at myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Good morning.